Saturday, 16 January. Dearest Suzie, I finally got 2 letters from you today, and I was glad to get them. I'm glad Mickey came to see you, and I hope he enjoyed himself. How come he spent so much money on the kids? Is he divorced? I can't remember. I've been thinking about your trip to Hawaii. I don't want to discourage it. If you want to come, I will be glad, but if you do come out there and we spend a week, I don't see how we can possibly go to see your folks this year. And I would really like to go up and see them, and I know you would. And we would be able to go up there when I come home and enjoy ourselves. No money problems. We can do one or the other with no problem at all. It is completely up to you, whichever you prefer. We are still flying our tails off. I will be flying all day tomorrow, but the time is flying too, so I don't mind working every day. Charlie is the same. In fact, everything is the same over here. Nothing exciting happening these days, and that is just the way I like it. I guess the boys really enjoyed their Uncle Mickey, huh? Does Brian still ask for his daddy? Did you get to see me on TV? When are you going to send me a tape? I look for one every day. I miss you all very much and love you very much. Sincerely, Bill. Today, I'd like to talk about photography, specifically film photography. This was how Popi took all of his photos, by using a 35mm film camera. Taking a photo with a 35mm film camera is a beautiful blend of art, mechanics, and science, and it's important to understand the physical photo-taking process so we can better comprehend what Popi accomplished as a photographer. If we were to track how real life becomes a picture, we'd start at the lens, which is the eye of the camera. It gathers light from your chosen scene. This light passes through layers of precisely arranged glass elements which direct photons to converge on film at the back of the camera. The amount of light which enters your camera is controlled by adjusting the aperture, which is a diaphragm within the lens that opens and closes to create a circular hole. A wide aperture lets in more light, which is perfect for dim conditions or achieving a blur. A narrow aperture reduces the light but increases the depth of field, keeping the entire scene sharp and detailed. The volume of light alone isn't enough to capture a moment. The duration of its exposure to the film must also be controlled. This is done by the shutter. The shutter is like a curtain that rests in front of the film, blocking light until the shutter button is pressed. When a photo is taken, the shutter briefly opens to allow light in to hit the film, then quickly closes again. The length of time it stays open is called the shutter speed. Faster speeds, such as 1/1000th of a second, are ideal for freezing fast motion. Think of a bird mid-flight, its wings suspended in the air. Maybe a helicopter. Slower speeds, like 1/30th of a second, allow more light to reach the film, making them useful in low light settings or when you want to capture motion as a blur for artistic effect. Slower speeds require a steady hand or a tripod to avoid unwanted shake. As light enters the camera, it finally reaches the film, which is a thin strip of plastic coated with a light-sensitive emulsion. This emulsion contains microscopic silver halide crystals. These crystals react chemically when exposed to light, recording the intensity and pattern of the light that hits them. Bright areas of the scene cause more of the crystals to change, while dimmer areas affect fewer crystals. At this stage, the image is invisible, existing only as a latent image, a kind of hidden map of light and shadow. The sensitivity of the film to light is called ISO. Lower ISO films, like a rating of 100, require more light but produce finer grain, while higher ISO films, like a rating of 800, are more sensitive, but grainier. Once the shutter closes, the camera's internal mechanism advances the film. A small gear system winds the exposed frame into the spool and positions a fresh, unexposed frame in front of the shutter, ready for your next shot. But capturing the image on film is only the beginning. The latent image needs to be developed through a chemical process to bring it to life. In a dark room or specialized lab, the film is submerged in a developer solution. This chemical reacts with the exposed silver halide crystals, transforming them into metallic silver particles. These particles form the dark areas of the image, corresponding to the brightest parts of the scene. A stop bath halts the development process, and a fixer solution stabilizes the image by washing away any unexposed crystals, ensuring the film can be safely exposed to light without further changes. What emerges is a strip of negatives. On these negatives, light and dark are inverted. The brightest parts of the scene appear darkest, and the shadows are light. While in a war zone, often flying, Popi utilized his mechanical camera to capture images with photosensitive film preserving what he saw forever on silver halide crystals. Photography is a simple yet delicate process, and in my opinion, his photographs are one of the greatest achievements of his life. To conclude, I'll share that today is my birthday. If you are enjoying the show, it'd be a real gift to me if you would like this episode and subscribe to the show. If you feel compelled, feel free to comment your thoughts on things or email me. I'd love to hear from you. Most importantly, there's enough of the show out by now for you to know what it is. Consider finally taking the time to share this with someone who you think would enjoy it. Perhaps your grandparent is still alive and they remember the 60s. Maybe you have a friend who is a war buff. Either way, sharing would be the greatest present to me. The photo I chose for today is a blurry, dreamlike photo of Charlie wearing his shirt, sitting on the ground, and eating something. I chose it because it's one of my favorites. Happy birthday to me. I'm Alex Lowie, and I hope you have enjoyed listening to this episode of Dearest Suzie, and receiving messages from the past that my Popi wrote exactly 60 years ago. I sincerely appreciate your time and interest. Please consider following the podcast on your preferred platform, and if you're enjoying it, I kindly ask that you take the time to rate the show and leave a review. Also, please follow the project on YouTube, X, and Instagram. All likes, comments, shares, and reviews will help grow the reach of this story. The links for these things should be in the description of this episode. Please feel free to email me at dearestsuziepodcast@gmail.com if you have anything you'd like to say. I'd love to chat or to hear about your stories as well. Thank you for listening, and God bless.